Good evening and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. And welcome to the Manchester United versus Fulham match preview. Before we jump into that, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe, bottom right hand corner, to the channel if you're new. And let's get straight on into it. So I'm just going to say this from the off, and I know it's pretty obvious, but this is a must-win match for Manchester United. It really, really is. Erik ten Hag, I don't think his job's on the line if he loses this one, but I think if he was to lose to Fulham tomorrow and then also lose to Copenhagen on Tuesday or Wednesday next week, I think that there will be serious questions being asked about him. There's already supposedly murmurs about whether he'll be able to, stay at Manchester United. But I think until, these couple of games are done, I think his job is secure. But let's do our preview for this match. Obviously, do get involved in the comments section. Let me know your thoughts on everything we discuss on today's show. And I also want you all to let me know your score predictions for the game as well. So get in the comments section, let me know your score predictions, and then we can look back after the match and see who got the most correct decision. Before we do that, I'm going to bring you a bit of injury news. We can confirm that Casemiro is out. He's got a hamstring problem and will be out for a number of weeks. I would imagine 3 to 4 weeks minimum. Hamstrings are usually one that they bring back slowly. They don't want to over stress the injury and then bring them back too soon and it become a bigger problem. So Casemiro 100% out. Another massive injury blow for Manchester United. And it looks like Victor Lindelof is also not available for the game tomorrow. Apparently he has got sickness. So I'm going to run through the team that travelled really, really quickly. So we've got Onana, Bayindir, Heaton, Wan-Bissaka, Dalot, Maguire, Varane, Johnny Evans, Reguilon. Midfielders, we've got Amrabat, Kobe Mainoo, which is absolutely incredible. Hannibal, Scott McTominay, Christian Eriksen, Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes. And then attackers, we've got Pellistri, Garnacho, Anthony Martial, Rasmus Højlund, Marcus Rashford and Anthony. So, I mean, the squad's slowly getting back to where it should be, but it's still that defence that I look at and I'm concerned about. Obviously, Luke Shaw still not back, Martinez still not back, and now Casemiro is injured as well. So 3 of those first team players from last season, 3 of, in my opinion, our best players from, last season's success are out. It is frustrating, obviously Malacia as well, Amad Diallo. There's still, a number of people waiting to come back from injury, but it is what it is. We've just got to get on with it. But the most positive thing for me of that, of that bit of news is that obviously Kobe Mainoo has travelled to the game tomorrow because as you can see from my match preview lineup right there on your screen, I'm picking Kobe Mainoo. He has to play for me. So I'm going to run through my team for you really, really quickly now. In goal, obviously, we've got Andre Onana. Left back, I've gone for Reguilon. I was thinking about maybe putting Dalot there, but I think Dalot's been really poor the last couple of games. So for me, it has to be Reguilon at left back. Then I've gone for Maguire and Raphael Varane as the two centre-backs. Wan-Bissaka at right back. I much prefer him than Dalot. And then I've gone for a midfield 2 of Mainoo and Amrabat. Now, I know that's quite defensive, but we've been absolutely leaking goals at the moment, and I think that we've got to shut up the shop against Fulham away from home. I seen a stat earlier on today that we haven't lost against Fulham for I think about 10 years or something, so this could be another record that's being broken this weekend. Manchester United losing to a team that they haven't lost to in nearly 10 years. Further up the pitch, I've gone for Marcus Rashford. I know people will say, oh, play Garnacho. Let's be honest, Garnacho was poor against Newcastle. I don't think Garnacho's ready to start games for Manchester United for me. I think off the bench as an impact sub, I think he's unbelievable. I think he's honestly so good to have as an impact sub. He's only 18, or he might just have turned 19 actually, but he's still very, very young, and I think him as an impact sub is way more effective than him starting matches. So for me, Garnacho coming off the bench in the 60th, 70th minute, I've got zero issues with that whatsoever. So Rashford on the left. I've gone for Bruno Fernandes as the centre attacking midfielder. Again, I don't think Hannibal showed enough to warrant him getting Bruno out of the team. He looked undisciplined. He should have got sent off, to be honest with you, Hannibal. He got a yellow card a couple of seconds later, probably should have got another yellow card and then did another tackle, which should have been a yellow card. I like Hannibal. I think he's good. I'm not sure whether he's going to be the future of Manchester United. I think maybe he's a decent squad player, but he definitely needs to sort out his discipline issues at the moment because I know that he's showing passion, which 99% of our players don't. So I like that in him, but sometimes that passion just boils over into frustration, and he kicks out at people. He does unnecessary tackles, and for a game like this, away from home, when the away fans are going to be right against you, I would not start Hannibal. So I've gone with Bruno Fernandes. And then on the right wing, I've gone for Mason Mount, to be honest. I'm sick to death of Antony. I really, really am. I thought he was okay last season. I don't know how many goals he got. Was it maybe 6 or 7 last season? I thought he contributed quite a lot last season, you know. Remember the goal against Barcelona? A couple of other goals. I think he scored against Arsenal, didn't he? He did okay last season, I thought. He wasn't world class, but for his first season in the Premier League for a 22-year-old, I thought he was all right. I thought he was okay. I think all right is a fair word to use, but he hasn't scored or assisted a single goal this season in 10 matches, nothing. And it's just poor, isn't it? And to think that we spent 100 million on him, he definitely doesn't deserve to be in the squad. I mean, last season he got 10 goals and 5 assists in 47 matches. So he averaged a goal or an assist every 3 matches, which isn't terrible, you know? It's not good, but it's not terrible. Whereas he hasn't scored or assisted a single goal in his first 10 games at all, nothing. So he really, really needs to start picking up some form. And for me, I think Mason Mount deserves a chance. I really, really do. I think Mason Mount, you know, he spent £60 million on him. Yes, he looked poor against Newcastle in the week. He was probably at fault for one of the goals. Didn't track back, looked weak. But if you're going to spend 60 million on somebody in the summer, we have to believe that this is somebody Erik ten Hag wanted. So if Erik ten Hag wanted Mason Mount, he needs to start picking him. And I would give Mason Mount the nod for this game because I don't think Antony's going to be very effective against Fulham, to be honest. And then up front, I've gone for Rasmus Højlund. Again, the only other striker we have is Anthony Martial. He offered nothing against Newcastle. I don't know how he's still at the club. He's been here for, 9-10 years now? He was here since the Louis van Gaal era. It's people like that who we need to wash our hands with. You know, the Scott McTominays, the Donny van der Beeks, the Anthony Martials, the Harry Maguires, the Johnny Evans, like all of these types of people need to leave the club at the end of the season, and we need to bring in 4 or 5 much better replacements, you know. We need to see a massive change in our squad. But let me know what you guys think of my predicted lineup. I reckon Antony will probably start, to be honest. Obviously, this lineup is what I would pick. But as you guys all know, I'm not the Manchester United manager. So unfortunately, I cannot decide whether Antony will start the game or not. But I want you guys to let me know your predicted lineup in the comment section. I also want you to let me know your score predictions. And I want to do you think that this is make or break for Erik ten Hag? Do you think if we lose this game, Erik ten Hag would be sacked? My answer is no. I think that they'll definitely keep him until the Copenhagen game. I think if we lose tomorrow badly and then we lose against Copenhagen, I think his job will be on the line. I genuinely do. Obviously, there's some reporters saying his job is already on the line, that, you know, some conversations are already being had with the Sporting Lisbon manager and Zinedine Zidane and others. Whether or not that's true, we'll have to wait and see. But at this moment in time, I think he's on very, very thin ice. That's what's been widely reported, you know, in The Athletic, in multiple other, you know, Sky Sports, etc., that he is on thin ice and that there is consideration about whether he is the right man to take Manchester United forward. As you know, if you're a regular on this channel, I definitely think he is the right man to take things forward. I just think that the players that he's got have no desire. I think most of them have weak mentality, and I think most of them are average. And that's being kind. I think a lot of them are rubbish, to be honest, let alone average. So for me, a lot of the blame goes on the non-existent director of football, the CEO, the Glazers, the players, and then Erik ten Hag obviously has a small part to play in this whole thing. But let me know what your score predictions are. Let me know whether you think this is a must-win game or not. I know every match is a must-win game, but in the context of Erik ten Hag's future, what do you think will happen if Erik ten Hag loses this match? I personally think if he loses tomorrow and then he loses against Copenhagen, I think his job will be massively on the line, because ultimately that would mean we're out of the League Cup. We'd be out of the Champions League. Probably wouldn't even qualify for the Europa from the group stage, would we? If what's it called? If Copenhagen beat us on Tuesday night, I think it is, they'd be on 4 points. We'd be on 3. I mean, we still could technically finish third in that group and get Europa League, but is that really the level that Manchester United should be looking for? I don't think so, but at the same time, that is our level realistically. I mean, I don't even think we deserve to be in the Europa League at the moment. I think we're not better than Aston Villa. We're not better than Brighton. We're not better than any of those teams around 6th, 7th, 8th. We're not. We simply aren't. We lost to Brighton. We'd lose to Aston Villa if we played them now. We lost to Tottenham. We lost to Arsenal. We lost to Newcastle. We lost to City. Like, we're not better than any of those teams. We don't deserve to be in the Champions League. Let's be clear about that. These players think that they have this some sort of divine right because, they play for their international teams and all the rest of it. But the reality is they don't. Every single game, they need to go out there and give 150%. 200%. They need to die for Manchester United for that badge on the pitch, but they don't. And we all know that. So let's just remind ourselves to align our frustration and our anger at the correct people, the people in power at Manchester United, the Glazers CEO, director of football that doesn't exist, and the CEO, as well as the players. And then obviously Ten Hag can have a little bit of the blame. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Thank you so much to everyone who's watched the show this evening. Please do make sure to smash a like before you go. Please do subscribe to the channel, bottom right hand corner. This has been Daily Red Devil, and I'll speak to you all a bit later.